Good morning, Wright State University, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Start your day the right way with us. We're going to be providing you the current events of the day. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening at Wright State University. We're going to have some casual conversations, and we're going to have a feature depending on the day of the week. You don't want to miss it. Right here, right now. The Wright Morning Show, WWSU. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's edition of the Wright Morning Show. It is Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. I am your host, Triple P. On the Discord, we have Laughing Chipmunk. How are you doing this morning?
I am fine.
You're doing fine?
Oh my gosh. You guys, it is so beautiful out here already. It's 75 degrees. The sun is shining bright. It is totally gorgeous outside.
Yeah, so Laughing Chipmunk, for context, those of you who are listening, is in Parkersburg, West Virginia right now. Those of us in Wright State University we got similar weather right now. It is sunny outside, and it is 72 degrees right now, according to tomorrow.io. Very, very, very beautiful day today, and it's supposed to get up to low 80s, I believe, today as well. So your extended weather forecast will be later on in the show today at 10:30 this morning, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Also on the phone, we have Harmony today. How are you doing this morning?
Hey, just kind of hanging out here in Beldrick, Ohio. Another beautiful day out this way, so looking forward to the nice warm temperatures and finally seeing a little bit of the summer coming through. So spring slamming on into summer like it always does.
Yes.
It's Ohio. Don't like the weather, give it 5 minutes. It will change.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with your current events for today. We're going to start with your local news. So 7-Eleven will take to 2022 to finalize the future of the Enum-based Speedway. This is from Springfield News Song. It will take until the year 2022 to finalize how resources of Enum-based Speedway will be dealt with. A media representative of Speedway's new owner, 7-Eleven Incorporated, told the Dayton Daily News and the Springfield News Song on Tuesday. We are still working hard to finalize details for the future of the organization and expect the process to last well into 2022. We will provide updates as they become available, a media representative said in response to questions from the news outlet. The company offered no other immediate information. The 7-Eleven convenience store chain said late last week it had closed on a $21 billion acquisition of Findlay-based Marathon Petroleum Corporation's Speedway chain, a purchase of nearly 4,000 stores across 36 states, even though members of the Federal Trade Commission have publicly expressed misgivings about the deal. And now Speedway's future in Ohio is not clear. You can read more about that at SpringfieldNewsSun.com. Also from Springfield News Song, they're back. Fairborn Sweet Corn Festival is the latest to announce return. We kind of talked about this on yesterday's show as well. The area festival organizers canceled most events in 2020 because of the coronavirus pandemic, but many have decided to return in 2021. The Fairborn Sweet Corn Festival is the latest, planning its August comeback. The event will be held in Community Park, 691 East Dayton Yellow Springs Road on Saturday, August 21st, and Sunday, August 22nd, opening at 11 a.m. each day. Sponsored by the Fairborn Art Association and the Fairborn Lions Club, the event is billed as family-oriented, with approximately 180 handmade arts and crafts booths and food vendors. Food favorites include steamed cooked sweet corn, barbecue chicken, pork chop sandwiches, and freshly cut watermelon. There you go, Laughing Chipmunk. There's something for you.
That sounds like a good day to me. Sounds a little corny, but good.
Yes. Arts and crafts include candles, wood items, jewelry, watercolor, and oil paintings.
Ooh.
Nice.
So be sure to check out the Sweet Corn Festival. It is Saturday, August 21st, and Sunday, August 22nd. For those
Ooh,
of you
plenty
who
of
want
time.
to...
Put it on the calendar.
Yes, put it on the calendar.
I'm gonna have to come into town for that.
Yeah, and maybe we could take Harmony with us.
Mm-hmm.
We all know who she is.
From WDTN, a driver crashes into a river after driving along the bank near Stanley Avenue in Dayton. A person was able to escape their car after driving into water in Dayton this morning. Montgomery County Regional Dispatch said that crews were called to the scene near the 1500 block of Stanley Avenue around 6:47 this morning. The Dayton Fire Department said the person was driving along the bank of the river when they went into the water. The driver was able to escape their car without any help. The department said the area is not intended for drivers and it is not a road. And I will tell you, as a bicyclist, it is not a road. It is a bike trail. The department said the area is not... I already read that. The driver sustained minor injuries. A medic and tow truck are now on scene working to get the car out of the river. 2 News will be updating the story as it develops, so be sure to keep an eye on 2 News. Wright State has received a financial ratings upgrade. That's from Dayton Daily News. If you want to check it out, go to DaytonDailyNews.com. I'm on a paywall, so I can't read you anything from them.
Climb that wall.
Also from the Dayton Daily News, Riverscape opened 20 years ago, the start of something gorgeous, vibrant, and contagious. From WDTN, have you seen her? Dayton police are looking for a missing woman with dementia. The Dayton Police Department said a missing woman with dementia has returned home Wednesday. Okay, that was a little misleading. So thankfully she is safe. The department had asked for help locating Glory Jeannie Ellie, 70, who was last seen at the Coles in Beaver Creek around 12:30 p.m. on Tuesday. Police said Ellie returned to her home and is safe. Miss Ellie, whom we put as an endangered missing last night, returned home on her own and is safe, said a Dayton police spokesperson. So, good news there. From WHIO, the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base to conduct scheduled hazmat training today. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is conducting a scheduled hazmat training. Surrounding communities could hear the sirens or the giant voice during the training. Workers on the base say it should be assumed that those sirens are part of an on-base exercise unless otherwise notified. A hazmat event will be simulated, signaling to first responders that assistance is needed. According to the base, some of the effects of the exercise could include gate traffic could be backed up or rerouted to other entry control points if the gate is closed. Emergency response vehicles are moving around the base. There could be travel congestion. There could be temporary blockages of some roads. There could be increased security measures, the giant voice activation, and use of telephone and electronic notification methods. So be sure to look out for that. Do not be alarmed if you hear the giant voice and the sirens.
It's the voice of God.
Yeah, I hear it quite often. This is the command center. This is a test of the loudspeaker system for Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it too. It's kind of creepy in a way, but...
Yeah, it is kind of freaky, but I can understand the need for them to put long pauses in between each word because, this is a huge area that they're covering, and if they say it too quickly, then the echo will prevent people from being able to understand what's being said on the speakers.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wright-Pat Airmen return home after assisting with vaccination efforts in Michigan. This is from Dayton.com. After a 2-month deployment administering COVID-19 vaccines in Michigan, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base airmen are returning home this afternoon. The airmen from the 88th Medical Group are returning from Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan, where they worked with the Federal Emergency Management Agency with vaccine administration. Sebastian Ogilvy was at the event waiting for his mother Evelyn Ogilvy to return home. He brought her flowers. It's very exciting. I haven't seen her for 2 months, he said. I'm really happy. The medical group was a part of the Department of Defense COVID-19 response operation Type Team 1, which is capable of administering up to 6,000 vaccinations in a day, a release from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base said. The airmen from Wright-Pat worked with about 2,700 other people from the U.S. Army, Marine Corps, Navy, and Air Force to support the federal vaccination effort in California, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, New Jersey, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, and in the U.S. Virgin Islands, according to the release. Is everything going okay over there, Harmony? I'm hearing a lot of noise.
Oh. Sorry, I was trying to move something out of the way.
Oh, that's all right. From WHIO, Dayton Public Schools step up security following a large after-school fight. Ooh. Dayton Public Schools has extra personnel on hand this week at multiple buildings following a large fight that the district said broke out after classes ended Monday at Thurgood Marshall High School. Superintendent Elizabeth Lawley said in an email to WHIO yesterday that the fight stemmed from something outside of school that happened over the weekend. Tuesday evening at a DPS Board of Election meeting, Lawley confirmed the fight at Thurgood Marshall is connected to a string of recent violence among teenagers in the city. This past week, several families were affected by the violence that has occurred, Lawley said. Monday, the issues moved to some of our schools. Dayton police last week described the recent violence in the city as an ongoing series of retaliations between two groups of teens, largely stemming from a recent homicide. News Center 7 confirmed with a DPS spokesperson that at least 3 of the young people involved in the violence of recent weeks are either current or former Dayton students. Board of Education Vice President William Smith spoke Tuesday evening to the toll this violence takes. Every time we see a student lose their life, this means that we have students that are waking up knowing that they won't see a friend anymore, Smith said. I challenge everyone to see how we can come together. Lowley said the district has added personnel on hand at multiple school buildings throughout the week. WHIO observed a uniformed security officer checking in with vehicles entering the Thurgood Marshall property on Tuesday afternoon. Lowley called on the community to help out to put an end to this recent violence. It is imperative that we as a community find solutions to conflicts that many of our children are engaging in, Lawley said. I'm urging parents and guardians, churches, the city, the police department, and the school district to work together to find solutions so that we do not lose any more students or children to the violence that has been occurring. Any personal thoughts about the violence going on at Dayton Public Schools? I'm going to turn it to you two for comments.
I feel like we need to start programs again after school.
After school programs?
Yes,
yeah,
again.
Keep the kids occupied. I could see that.
Because there used to be like a Boys and Girls Club of Dayton a long, long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
It could have lost funding, I'm not sure, but it was like the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. It was throughout the whole United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we need to start implementing and putting some programs back in place to keep this stuff from not happening, because I feel like if they had somewhere to go, if they had something to do, and good mentorship, a lot of this stuff would not be happening.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Got a little robotic there, Lafik Gemma. Could you repeat what you said?
Robo chip.
I said Robo-chip.
Robo-monk. Robo-monk.
Robo-monk. Oh my gosh. No, I was just saying, I agree 100%.
Yeah, there's been some research to suggest that after-school programs, especially in middle school and high school, are very beneficial to keeping kids engaged and active and not, being out on the streets and doing things they're not supposed to be doing.
I mean, they even used to have like a latchkey program for kids in elementary school that didn't have parents at home after school.
Mm-hmm.
So if we start things up again, I feel like it would be extremely beneficial. Yeah, can't talk.
The word of the day, beneficial.
Beneficial. It's a harmony. It's a harmony word. No, but I feel like it would be extremely useful for everybody involved.
Mm-hmm.
Bring back some of that, goodness of, if you can't be at home, then we need to find somewhere, to keep this from happening, because, when you don't have anything to do, you are going to get in trouble.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Greene County takes an innovative approach to encourage vaccinations. This is from WDTN. Local health departments have taken the lead on helping their communities get vaccinated and have come up with innovative ways to handle the changing needs of their communities. As Greene County continues to open up, the effort to get more people vaccinated continues as well. We're excited to bring the vaccine opportunity to more and more people where it may be more easily accessible, or they may just stumble upon it and make that decision, said Cheryl Wynn of Greene County Public Health. So far, 41% of people in the county have started the process. They said about twice in the article. 37% are fully vaccinated. They are slowing down tremendously. We went from doing 2,000 to 3,000 vaccines in a day in our 3 days of clinics at the Indian Ripple Road site to more like 500. So we knew it was time for a new strategy. To boost the vaccine effort, Greene County Public Health is partnering with businesses, churches, and organizations to host on-site clinics at their locations. Future Greene County Public Health clinics will be offered both at the health department and at local entities. So there's several different places where there's going to be vaccination sites. If you want to check the upcoming sites, you could go to WDTN.com. I will say that today they will be at Greene County Public Health main office in Xenia until 11:30 a.m. and then they'll be back at 12:30 p.m. until 3:30 p.m. They will be offering the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines for anybody interested. They will also. So go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, I don't know about the time frames, but I got an automated call from my pharmacy yesterday, which is Hometown Pharmacy on Indian Ripple Road in Beaver Creek, and they are offering the vaccine as well. So
nice.
The number there is 937-320-1500 if you want to check in on times and availability.
Very cool. We're going to now go over to global and national news here. We're going to go to Cheddar Need to Know. Latest developments with COVID-19, brought to you by NBC. New York, the one-time epicenter of the pandemic, is taking its biggest step towards normalcy today, with many COVID restrictions getting dropped statewide. The CDC says more than 600,000 children aged 12 to 15 have received their first dose of the Pfizer vaccine already, a strong number given it was only greenlit last Thursday. Meanwhile, India recorded the single highest daily death toll of any country so far, 4,529, though the real number is probably much higher. Yeah. There's been some news coverage. I forget who did it, but I think it was the Associated Press, if I'm not mistaken correctly. But they did some coverage on how entire families in India are getting wiped out by the coronavirus. It's a very tragic situation over there in India. And I'm really hoping that countries like the United States and Europe, etc., come together and donate the excess surplus of vaccines, if they have any, over to India so that they can use them for their people.
It's crazy. I read this morning, actually, that in Norway, their borders are closed unless you are a, worker or national or journalist. And they have the strain of the new variant over there as well. So if you're coming into Norway, you have to quarantine for at least 10 days in a quarantine hotel at $500 a night. And I do know that in Canada as well, they have the variant as well. And their numbers went from, I believe, at the beginning of this month, from 5,000 a day right now down to 1,000, around 1,600 per day. So it's pretty crazy out there.
Yeah. An update from the Gaza conflict from the Associated Press. Despite growing international calls for a ceasefire, there are still no signs of an end to the conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. The Israeli military said it was expanding its airstrike campaign in the Gaza Strip as Hamas continued to fire rockets into Israel. President Biden is said to be privately encouraging Israel to wind down its bombardment, even as the U.S. repeatedly blocked what could have been a unanimous statement from the UN Security Council condemning the war, reportedly because it made no mention of Hamas. And I also heard that some people are making statements that this violence from Israel against the Hamas is kind of a little bit of an ethnic cleansing, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I don't entirely know I don't know much about that, so I can't really comment on it, but that's what I've seen in the news. The 1/6 Commission, this is from Politico. Congressional Republicans are coming together to oppose a 9/11-style independent commission to investigate the January 6th Capitol riot. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy is against it, saying he'd only support the commission if it also included unrelated political violence by groups like Black Lives Matter and Antifa. His lieutenants are now telling rank-and-file lawmakers to vote no. In the Senate, Mitch McConnell had previously said he's okay with forming the commission pending the fine print, but now says he's pushing pause on the legislation. NBC Phil, this is from PA primaries. Democratic primary races in Pennsylvania's two largest cities delivered a pair of closely watched results. In Philly, the city's progressive district attorney, Larry Krasner, easily beat a challenge from a former prosecutor who argued that Krasner's lenient policies, he has refused to prosecute low-level crimes like prostitution and drug possession, had made that city less safe amid a 40% spike in homicides. Across the state, Pittsburgh Democratic voters sent that city's incumbent mayor packing. Paul Peduto lost his re-election bid to Ed Gainey, who will almost certainly become the Steel City's first black mayor. All right, from Yahoo Finance, customers clearly want to get out and shop. That's how Walmart CEO Doug McMillon accounted for the company's blowout earnings report. The world's largest retailer saw same-store sales rise by more than 6% in the quarter. Home Depot's same-store sales were up 31%. Macy's sales were up 63%. And taken together, the retail earnings show that U.S. consumers are shopping like it's going out of style as the pandemic fades. Lowe's and Target are likely to continue the trend when they report today. From the Wall Street Journal, actually, I'm going to save that one for Scotty because this one deals with stocks and trading, and I think he would be interested in this story. So I'm going to pause on that story, and we'll get back to that in a moment. From ESPN, Jason Tatum scored 50 points to lead the Boston Celtics to win over the Washington Wizards in the first night of the NBA play-in tournament. The Wizards will play the Pacers tomorrow in an elimination game after Indiana blew out Charlotte in last night's other game. Boston will play Brooklyn in the first round, and over in the West, the slumping defending champion Lakers are bracing for Steph Curry and the Warriors tonight. we have Scotty just now joining into the studio. So before I go to the stock, story, you are also a big fan of the NBA. So I'm going to have your take on the NBA article here.
I heard you say my name. I figured you wanted to talk about sports, so here I am. Thank you for having me on. As
and
always.
Stocks.
Yeah, stocks as well, man. I'll tell you what, my stocks haven't been doing the best. But I'll get to that later on. But right now, we'll talk about the current NBA happenings. Obviously, we have the play-in tournaments that are going on. Yesterday, I believe it was the Celtics and Wizards, if I'm not mistaken. And then there was the Hornets and the Pacers. I actually had a buddy of mine that went to the Pacers game. The Hornets did fall. The Pacers won. They were up by 30 points at one point, and they killed it. But a great job by the Pacers to end up winning that one. And like you said, tonight we're going to have the Lakers and the Warriors playing tonight, and then we're going to have the Grizzlies and the Spurs playing as well. Tatum dropping 50 points. I mean, Jason Tatum being a dog like usual. I think he's dropped 50 points 3 times this year.
Ooh,
if I'm not mistaken. He's done really good. Jason Tatum being the star over there for the Celtics. So, of course, the Washington Wizards are now out of the playoffs. The Celtics are in. They still have the other playing game to do, but they are continuing, I should say. So, great work by the Celtics. And all I got to say is go Lakers because they got to play tonight. And, I wore my Lakers shirt at work today, and obviously right now I'm not. But still, go Lake Show.
Awesome. So, I wanted to go back. There's an article called Stocks for Kids. This is from the Wall Street Journal.
Mm-hmm.
Fidelity will start offering its brokerage services to teenagers as young as 13, provided their parents are customers and give consent. The teen-friendly investing and savings accounts come with a debit card and the ability to buy and sell stocks, mutual funds, and ETFs without any fees. Online brokerages like Fidelity and Robinhood have seen a surge in interest from young investors stuck at home during the pandemic. What are your thoughts on that, Scotty, getting teenagers involved in the stock market?
Well, I definitely think parental supervision has to be a major necessity in that, whether it's like a joint account from like their parents that offer their kid like a spot on their account to where they're able to kind of learn how it works. Because when I was growing up, I knew a good amount of kids that were able to. Excuse me, sorry, I kind of got destroyed there with the headphones on. They were a little loud, but
oh, sorry, I could turn those down for you.
Yeah, but anyways, there's a lot of kids and teenagers, I should say. Back when I was probably about sophomore year to senior year of high school, there were just a bunch of people that were interested in the stock market. And at the time, I didn't know. I didn't really start looking into it until this year. But I think it's a great learning opportunity for a lot of these people. And a lot of these kids and everything, and I think that's investing is a big part of life if you decide to go down that route, because if you invest correctly, you can make thousands upon thousands of dollars, in years. So that'd be a great idea, and it'd be, like I said, it'd be a great learning opportunity. But the thing is, let's say that you could have a Robinhood account fully by yourself at the age of 16. Well, I'm a completely different person now than from when I was 16 years old. You know what I mean? I'm a lot.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm like smarter by a lot, but I've matured up a little bit, right? I've been able to experience what the real world is like as an adult to an extent. Obviously, I'm still a college kid, so I'm kind of there. But if as a kid you're gonna be sitting there like, oh, I can invest in there. This might blow up, might be in a thing. I'm gonna put $200 into this. And as a kid, as a teenager, I didn't have $200 that often. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these kids could be throwing all this money into it, and they could just be investing in stuff that's never gonna blow up. They could be investing in something that's super duper cheap, and they're like, oh, it could blow up, and it never does, and then it ends up degrading down in value by a mile, and they just lose all their money. So I think that's a good idea what they're planning to do there, but I feel as if it needs to be a joint account if they do decide to do that, to where it has to be either approved by a parent or it's like a joint account with a parent, something like that. But I do like that idea. It's a big learning experience for children / teenagers. Even if there was just a website where people could play with it, I think that'd be smart. Which there probably
I was
are.
gonna say like a virtual stock market. I'm pretty sure there are such things.
Yeah.
Online.
Yeah, I haven't really seen too many, but if there's like a mainstream one that comes out soon, that would be kind of cool. But Robinhood and everything, I think that'd be a great idea to kind of get their feet wet in the stock market and investing, and investing for your future, because that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, very cool. let's see here. Let's see if we have any more stories I want to cover. So the European Union is agreeing to ease travel restrictions on non-European Union tourists. This is from Reuters. European Union countries agreed today to ease COVID-19 travel restrictions on non-EU visitors ahead of the summer tour season, a move that could open the bloc's door to all Britons and to the vaccinated Americans. Ambassadors from the 27 EU countries approved a European Commission proposal from May 3rd to loosen the criteria to determine safe countries and to let in fully vaccinated tourists from elsewhere, EU sources said. They are expected to set a new list this week or early next week. Based on data from the European Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Britain and a number of other countries would meet the new criteria. The United States would not, although Americans with proof of vaccination would be welcomed. You can read more at Reuters.com. I think, so we're going to go ahead and conclude our current events there, and we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get into your local weather forecast and latest campus announcements. You're listening to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Don't go anywhere.
Pass it on.
Now's the time to stay apart. Social distancing. But I'm adding some.
And we're back to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. And welcome back to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. It is time for your weather forecast. Currently at Wright State University, according to tomorrow.io, it is mostly clear and the temperature is 73 degrees. The wind is coming from the south at 7 miles per hour. The humidity is 64%. The visibility is good, and the air quality is moderate. Your 12-hour hyperlocal forecast calls for mostly clear skies up until 1:30 p.m., and then some clouds are going to roll in with a slight chance of a thunderstorm. The temperatures are going to reach 80 degrees at 2 p.m., and then it'll stay in the 80s until just after 7 p.m. when it starts cooling into the 70s. Here is your extended weather forecast brought to you by the National Weather Service at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Give me 1 second. All right, Wednesday, mostly sunny, and then a slight chance of thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. High around 80. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, low in the lower 60s. Thursday, mostly sunny, high in the mid-80s. Thursday night, partly cloudy, low around 60. Friday, mostly sunny, high in the upper 80s. Friday night, mostly cloudy, low in the lower 60s. Saturday, mostly cloudy, high in the upper 80s. Saturday night, mostly clear, low in the mid 60s. Sunday, mostly sunny, high around 90. And Sunday night, partly cloudy, low in the mid 60s. Enjoy that warm weather. You might need to turn on your air conditioner towards the end of the week.
Slamming into summer, like always.
Yes. All right, so here's the latest happenings or latest announcements from Wright State University. Are you ready to take a big step forward in your career or start a new one? Consider what a Wright State MBA might mean for your future, and then join us for the next MBA virtual open house on June the 15th. Summer 2021 graduates, the deadline to apply to graduate is this Friday, May the 21st. Be sure to carefully read all graduation and commencement application information. Mini University is offering C-Campus grant funding for student parents. The grant would provide $700 off your child's monthly tuition. Other funding options are available to reduce the price even further. Parents must be Pell eligible and registered for 6 or more credit hours for summer semester. English 2040/2010 Growing Up in a Sci-Fi Universe is being offered in the B term of summer semester. It is a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday class from 9:50 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. It is an online synchronous class. If you are interested, be sure to sign up for it. Personal care, student parent caregiver pantry is in need of donations. You could drop off your donations at the Culture and Identity Center at 140 Millette Hall, or visit the wish list on Amazon. The Master of Public Health virtual open houses are May 25th for research opportunities, and June 8th and 22nd for the epidemiology. I actually said it right the first time, for once. The Passport Center is open on campus. The UCIE has reopened as a Passport Center. They accept Wright State students, faculty, staff, family, and even community members. Do you think engineering isn't for you? This class will change your mind. ISE 1110, Introduction to Engineering Science Applications for All. It is a 4-credit-hour class, 3 of them lecture and 1 of them lab. Wright State Physicians is resuming the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine clinic for Wright State students. You must have an appointment. Go ahead and schedule now to get your vaccine. The Master of Humanities program, it is flexible, interdisciplinary, and unique. Would you like to craft your own program of study in a variety of liberal arts disciplines? The M-Humanity program is currently accepting applications. There is some tuition scholarship funding available. Would you like to become a disease detective in the fall? There is a disease detectives course being offered in the fall of 2021, PPH 2200. Register now, class sizes are limited. There are a couple of on-campus clinical research opportunities available. There is the dermatology research area looking for psoriasis patients and or healthy controls. Also, there is a compensated study seeking healthy control males. So if you are male and healthy, be sure to sign up for that research opportunity as well. Are you looking for a good summer read? If you are in need of a few books to add to your summer reading list, we welcome you to visit the University Library's news blog for ideas. All right, and that's basically the latest events and news, or announcements rather, from your Wings account from Wright State University. We're going to move into free-form discussion. We're going to start with Scotty for the latest stock and trading update. So, Scotty, take it away.
Yeah, as always. I mean, I talk a lot about crypto because I like cryptocurrency. It's a big thing right now, but a lot of the bigger name cryptocurrencies have been just falling down tremendously. Just about a month ago, I invested about $100 in a Dogecoin. It was about 73 cents per share. It is down to 33 cents right now, which is that's the lowest it's been since about the end of April. So it's been a few weeks, but still. And Ethereum was just about, I believe it was a week ago, maybe a week and a half. Either way, it was at about $4,300.
Ooh.
It is currently now at $2,400. It's dropped a lot in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's taken the most dramatic drop. It was recently. It was at about almost $60,000 per Bitcoin. Now it is currently valued at $34,963. It's dropped about 21 to 22K in this month. Elon Musk was talking about how they weren't going to accept any more Bitcoin transactions from Tesla. To buy Tesla vehicles, they're not going to accept Bitcoin anymore, and they're trying to sell all their Bitcoin. So a lot of people are kind of freaking out, trying to sell all their Bitcoin, dropping a lot of value. A lot of people think that, because Elon Musk is technically like the CEO, I guess, of Dogecoin, and they think that Dogecoin's going to start shooting back up since Elon Musk is kind of canceling out Bitcoin. So we'll have to see what pans out there. But a lot of the bigger name cryptocurrencies are falling down right now. A lot of the normal stocks are kind of staying the same, like Facebook and Twitter, everything else. A lot of like those. Apple's about 123 a share still. Twitter's gone up about $1, I believe. I think it's gone up about 4%. Yeah, okay, it's been up about 2%. But still, normal stocks kind of just chilling out. Ford still $12, etc. I could go on and on. But cryptocurrencies definitely took a big hit recently. I mean,
Yeah.
I invested at about $107 for between Ethereum and Dogecoin. I'm down to $50 right now between the two. So I've lost half my money in the span of 1 month.
Oof.
Yeah, for real.
That hurts.
I mean, it's just a little fun. I like to play. I like to watch the stock market, see what happens. And right now I'm losing, but I mean, you got to play the waiting game. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. But that's every time I'm on the air, that's your Scotty's stock update, right?
Scotty's depressed stocked up.
Yeah, right. I'm kind of sad right now, but it's okay. I'm looking at Seahawks tickets right now when they play the Colts. So I'm sitting here like, man, I could sell some of my shares and just buy some Seahawks tickets. So I'm not too terribly sad. I want to buy these Seahawks tickets so bad. Because Seattle, I can't go to a Seahawks game because when it's at home, obviously, because it's all the way in Seattle. So the closest I can do is if they're in Cincinnati, Cleveland, or Indianapolis. Well, week 1, Seahawks playing at Indianapolis.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to that game. I don't care what's going on that day. I'm going to that game. So I'm pretty excited for that. But the stock market, on the other hand, yeah, I'm a little sad.
Let us know how the game goes when you do go there.
Yeah, it's going to be September 17th, I believe, or maybe a week before that, but still, it's going to be in September, so I'm extremely, extremely excited. It's September 12th, that's when it is. But either way, I'm extremely excited. You know how much I love football. I mean, obviously, my talk show that I do is completely football-focused, pretty much. I'm very excited for, obviously, the NFL season to start, but obviously the Seahawks opener as well.
All right, let's move on to one of our first freeform discussion topics. Could virtual reality replace laptops? What do you think? It's an interesting question.
Who else do we have on the line today? I want to hear their thoughts.
We have Harmony, and then we have Laughing Chipmunk on Discord.
Yeah, I can't. Unfortunately, I can't hear them through the headphones that I got over here because they're kind of screwing up right now. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts first on this one.
My laptop. I'm sorry. I love my laptop.
Yeah, thumbs up from Scotty on that. Yeah, so definitely Laughing Chipmunk's probably not going to get into virtual reality anytime soon.
I've played around with virtual reality a little bit, but there's absolutely no way that virtual reality itself can replace a laptop.
Yeah, I don't think it will because laptop and virtual reality, they serve two completely different purposes.
Oh, exactly. Well, that and it's just like I know if I gave virtual reality to my grandparents and they tried using it, they'd probably puke. You know what I mean? So
I can imagine. Yeah.
Some people just have really bad motion sickness to where and the thing is though, like you said, it's two completely different things. Laptop, you can do basically anything. Virtual reality, it's pretty much for games. You know what I mean? That's like the main source of what virtual reality is used for. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really see how virtual reality could take over the use of laptops at all.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Harmony? Do you think...
I don't really see it taking over that because a lot of people, the whole hands-on, got to have the solid thing there. Virtual reality is just, I don't know, it's just weird. It's different. It's completely, and I agree. It is more for the advent gamer than somebody that's just going to be messing around on a laptop or a PC or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like its place is more, in the video game realm for, those people that want to play and be in the game, so to speak, have that Tron experience.
I mean, what else would you really use virtual reality for other than video games? I mean, possibly like job training. That could be one thing. Simulations for
So,
job training
Yeah.
stuff.
it's interesting you bring that up because the medical department here at Wright State has a virtual reality simulation that they use for training on surgeries, I believe it is.
That's really nice. So,
Yeah.
virtual reality definitely has its benefits and stuff. And, for example, like let's say there's someone who, it can't walk or something, right? They put on virtual reality and they're kind of like in that standing position and they're looking around and everything. I guess it kind of adds like a sense of mobility, if you will, for people who are unable to. Something like that. There's opportunities for that as well. Obviously, like the training and everything and the simulations, that's great. But it's basically platformed for gamers, I think.
Yeah. This isn't one of the topics, but this kind of got me thought of an alternative debate. What about, would augmented reality take over cell phones? So the difference between virtual reality and augmented reality is that virtual reality is completely virtual. Everything you see is, a complete fictional universe. Augmented reality takes what has like a camera and takes what you see in the real life and superimposes, different things like, your cell phone, for instance, or little arrows to help you navigate through town, things like that. Do you think that could replace cell phones instead of laptops this time?
I mean, I'm not really too sure. I feel like in the future that is a possibility, depending on how advanced we get as a society.
Mm-hmm.
But within the near future, I would definitely say no. I feel like if something like that did occur, it would be like when I'm pretty old. When I say pretty old, I mean like 50, 40. I say that like it's old, but for me that's old because I'm a very young person. But when I'm more in my adult stage of life, if you will, I feel like that's when there's a possibility that could overtake mobile devices. But in the near future, I'd say next 10, 15 years, iPhone, and Androids, we're still going to see these cell phones going around.
Yeah.
And we're still going to see cell phones being dominant. I mean, I don't know anybody that doesn't have a cell phone other than like 5 people. You know what I mean? Everybody has some type of smartphone.
I used to not have a cell phone for a couple of years.
Yeah, I can believe that, Patrick.
I don't use my phone very often.
I know you left it here in the office one day, and because I was sitting there, I think it was on Friday. I was sitting here before everybody got here, and I just kept hearing this like alarm go off, and I'm like, "What is that noise?"
Oh,
and
I forgot about my daily alarm on here.
Yeah. So, but anyways, I just kept hearing it, and I'm just like, what the heck? So I texted in the group chat like, yo, did someone leave their phone here? And then I heard like the buzz go off, and I'm like, oh, that's Patrick's phone. Okay, because I texted you individually right after I sent that message. I'm like, of course, it was Patrick that left his phone here.
Yeah.
I feel like you're never on it.
Yeah, I pretty much only use the phone for getting messages and controlling my lights, and that's pretty much it.
How do you, just out of curiosity, how do you feel about like, do you have an Alexa at home?
No, I have a Google Home.
Yeah, see, like something like that. Laughing Chipmunk, Harmony, do you guys have any like smart home devices? Like
oh yeah, I've got
Harmony's
a
got
Google Home Assistant. I've got 2 iPhones. I've got a dinosaur flip phone.
I have an Alexa back home, and I really like it. And do you guys use it as like a feature to like turn off your lights and turn on like your TV and stuff with the smart plugs? Do you guys use those features, or what do you mainly use them for? Because I use them to like turn on my like lights and stuff, and just kind of like set alarms and get like weather updates.
I actually do not. I pretty much come in, do the weather, the news. She's got my daily roster of when I say good morning to her. She'll, give me my itinerary for the morning. Reminders, use it for a kitchen timer, things like that, pretty much.
You use it a lot more than me.
Yeah, I don't normally do TV. It's something we don't do around here anymore. It's been like, I think, 6-7 years since we've had any cable or anything like that. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't use
thank
cable at
basic.
all. I mean, I got streaming services on my computer, so
Yeah, we've got things on our phones, stuff like that. So it's basically pointless to have a TV when you can do Netflix, Hulu, and all that other stuff on your phone.
exactly.
So we just do a lot of that. But appointment reminders, things like that, for her to remember certain things. But that's pretty much, what I'm using her for. And then my iPhones, of course, the email, some texting. It goes in between two different phone systems. And now that we're getting ready to start business up and going, just pretty much that's what it's all relegated to.
Mm. Harmony, is it okay if I mention your physical condition in relation to the use of your Google Home?
Oh, basically, I have limited vision, so visually impaired, not completely blind, but at least, I've got some issues as to where I cannot see to read at this point anymore. So, my phone basically will do speech voiceover, so it's a great little asset to have. And that's, there's also the audiobooks and things of that nature, which I indulge in as well, along with the talking book player from NLS, which is the National Library in Cleveland for the Blind. So those are the basic, things that I virtually use that for all the time on a regular.
Sounds very beneficial.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Google Homes are very beneficial to people with visual impairments who normally cannot use, like, a smartphone, for
Yeah.
instance.
And the thing about it is, too, when it comes down to phone systems and being visually impaired, it's kind of a toss-up. A lot of people say that iPhone is pretty much top when it comes to that, but I've also heard people say that they like Android better, but iPhone seems to be a little more prepared and equipped,
Mm-hmm.
for those needs. And then you were mentioning the augmented reality there, Patrick.
Yeah.
I think it was about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, the National Federation for the Blind, they have like little conferences in different states. I've never been, mind you. But there was something that came out. It's like a visor, and it looks like there's binoculars on top of it. And if you wear that with a Bluetooth in your ear, it's your eyes. If you can't see anything at all, it will tell you where you are, what's on the sign in front of you, and where you're going to. So basically, there's a lot of things out there that can be extremely helpful for people.
That's pretty cool. I never heard about those before. But
Yeah.
Oh, they're only a couple $1,000s, that's why.
Get an investment out. Dang.
Actually, a couple $1,000s for a device like that is pretty cheap. I was expecting it to be even more expensive than that, at least with how early in the development process they are.
Well, they've come a long way, I think, as well. Plus, also you can use. It's funny. You can you can use the devices on your iPad or your iPhone if you're out and about and you need to walk somewhere or whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
With your mapping system. So hey, turn the corner, go so many feet, take your feet up there. So, but yeah, I know a gentleman that did my computer training at Goodwill. Doug Beetzel, I have to mention him out here. He is a phenomenal person, and I was like totally intimidated when I first started doing anything with a computer. I'm like, how in the H am I supposed to learn all this crap? But he had the visor with the binoculars, but his are completely different. His are basically, he will like swing them down to where his eyes are, and then he can like focus in on different types of print on the computer or whatever it is that he's doing. So he's got a different system going there. He's not total, but he does have the visual impairment, as to where he can't see to read anything either. So that definitely helps for some people as well. A lot of cool stuff out there.
It's It's very cool how technology has evolved over the last few years.
No doubt. No
Anybody
doubt.
remember Google Glass? Me neither.
I was actually thinking about that earlier when you were talking about augmented reality. I was actually thinking about Google Glass, but I'm like, man, that was such a terrible launch. I'm like, I don't know anybody, or I've never seen anybody that actually used it.
Yeah.
Ever. Never. I don't even think I've seen a YouTube video of like anyone just like reviewing it before. I mean, I could probably find one, but still.
Yeah, it did not go over well, unfortunately. All right, so I think we'll finish off with one more topic for our freeform discussion. Which social media platform is the most damaging for mental health?
All of them.
All of them.
Facebook.
Laffy Chipmunk said Facebook.
Probably so.
I
would
have to
say.
agree. I feel like, I'm not talking trash about Facebook or anything. But like every time I go on Facebook, I just see some type of political discussion. You know what? No, I'm not going to say Facebook. Twitter. Twitter is. Twitter.
I could see
Twitter
that.
is
I can see that.
completely biased in my opinion. It is. I will not use it. As all my Sig Up brothers know, I think Twitter is the devil. I will not use it. I do not like Twitter. But it's very political all the time. Cancel culture is huge on it. I think it's the most toxic culture and toxic app.
Amen.
That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to go too far into it because we're about to hit commercial break, but still.
We could go for
we got
hours.
we got 3 minutes.
But we could go for hours on that subject.
Yeah, exactly.
I
But
agree.
still, I don't want to get into it because I'll get heated and I'll keep going and I'll miss our top of the hour break. But yeah, Lisa say Twitter. I think Twitter than Facebook, but Twitter definitely the most damaging on your brain. Could even be more damaging for your career as well, depending on what you post.
Yeah, Twitter. So the way I see Twitter is with their, short character limit and the ease of being able to post on Twitter.
Yep.
It tempts people to post impulsively on Twitter without thinking about what they are posting. And I think that's part of the reason why it's so toxic there.
Well, and you got to remember when people are posting, they're not generally thinking anyway. And if you're going to be impulsive, you're never thinking. I mean, that's just point blank. And as far as Facebook and all that, it just seems like you get on and everybody that never had an opinion all of a sudden has an opinion.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that they're the authority or the knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
I
You
completely
could
agree.
be like, the most ignorant person on the block and try to portray yourself as like the most intelligent genius because, you're talking about something that somebody else has mentioned and you're trying to be the authority on it just because you want the attention also. So it's just really sad, I think, that something that was so supposed to be meant for keeping in touch and having fun has turned into such a show.
Yeah.
So,
Or we can't say on radio.
Yes. Yes, it's a Schmidt show. There you go.
There you
It's
go.
a Jeff Schmidt
Yes.
show.
Yes. You should never should yourself. So, yeah.
Nah, there was this one story I saw like literally just like 2 weeks ago about this person who got this internship for NASA, and they're like, "Holy F, I just got hired as an intern for NASA, blah blah blah." And this person who worked for NASA, but they didn't have like a verified account or anything, but like they were like, "Just watch your language," and they were like, "F you, I just got hired at NASA, blah blah
Oh,
blah,"
no.
and they said it to someone who is a higher up at NASA. But like NASA, like they basically denied her internship. But that person that she said "F you" to because she was in the moment, if you will, about her excitement. That individual was trying to get her that internship back, even though she was being disrespectful towards him. That just shows you that. I mean, you could just post something in excitement or whatever, however you're feeling, and it could just turn on you like that.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I pretty much abandoned all social media. The only social media platform I have that is public, mind you, is my LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is supposed to be for jobs and, career seeking and things like that anyway. So
Oh, it's also for stalking. I have a
I
few
hear
clients
that
that
too,
are being
yeah.
I have a few clients right now that are being stalked on their LinkedIn accounts by people that they've met from, of course, Tinder and Hinge and all these other places.
yeah.
My
So,
Lord.
and yeah, don't wonder why you're being stalked out there, people. But yeah, this is crazy.
All right. We're going to go ahead and take our top of the hour ID break. And when we come back on the Wright Morning Show, it is time for your daily reflection. So everybody stick around. You're listening to the Wright Morning Show, WWSU 106.9 FM.
106.9 Dayton's Right Choice.
And we're back to the Right Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Welcome back to the Right Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Joining us now in the studio is Morgan, the marketing director of WWSU Radio. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm going to have you get a little closer to the microphone. These microphones are notorious for cutting out, even if you're just a couple of inches away. But we are going to go ahead and for the daily reflection today, we have an interesting topic. This was pulled up from tinybuddha.com, and when I read it out, just Harmony and I laughed during the break because there's so much, especially Harmony. She could talk about this a lot considering her line of work.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So today we are talking.
Narcissism.
Yes, we are talking about escaping a predator, 10 warning signs you're dating a narcissist. And this article is written by Lana Nolan. Starting off with a quote from Julia Cameron, "Each of us has an inner compass. This is an instinct that points us towards health. It warns us when we are on dangerous ground, and it tells us when something is safe and good for us." So the article begins, "After I broke up with Mr. Wonderful, I found out that he was a predator. When I realized who he really was, I stood in my home shaking in fear and feeling sick to my stomach. I was horrified. My mind raced with terrifying images of what could have happened to me if I had not followed my instincts and left him. It was like finding out that there was a crocodile at the watering hole. I had taken a drink not knowing that a predator was nearby. Something had alerted me that I was in danger. The signs were there, and like an antelope, I sensed the urgent need to bolt. He was a person who was considered to be an upstanding member of the community. He was
it's the way it always goes.
He was an elementary school principal and had been a special education teacher beforehand. He was charming, well-raised, well-mannered, well-spoken, and very entertaining. He was well-read and could quote Brene Brown and discuss equality and social justice issues. On the surface, he seemed like a wonderful man. At first, I thought everything about him was real. He was generous, attentive, and fun, and he communicated well. He liked the same music as me and had similar views on education, politics, and social topics of the day. He meditated and read books. We attended concerts, ate sushi, enjoyed each other's friend groups, and joined a gym together. He told me personal things about his childhood as if confiding in me alone. He told me he was in love with me and that we could build the relationship we always wanted. I was the love of his life, he said. The honeymoon period lasted for a few months until cracks in his veneer started to appear. These cracks began to open and reveal another side to him. He would talk about himself a lot. He would often greet me at the end of the workday by saying, "Hey, how was your day?" "Well, I had a day, ... He would immediately launch into one story after another about his day and never really get around to listening to my stories. When he wasn't bragging about himself, he was putting down other people in unnecessarily harsh and insulting ways. He thought he was a rising star in the education realm and that other people were jealous of him. He would find subtle ways to cut down accomplishments that were not his own, including my achievements. He would talk about other people in restaurants, insult his colleagues, and he would even put down the people he called friends. He would talk often about empathy, a buzzword in education, but he didn't actually possess the ability to empathize. It was like he studied the qualities of empathy, practiced what to say in situations that required empathy, but when someone was hurting, he couldn't demonstrate empathy and compassion in genuine ways. One day he said to me, "This is the His Name show, and you are my guest." It was a random and awkward thing to say, and I thought it was so very odd. Slowly, I began to see what that statement meant. He was a performer, faker, and a poser. I was just another visitor on his show. A major red flag was the way he talked about his ex wife. I have an ex husband, so I know that ex spouse relationships can be challenging, but this was on a different scale. I'm going to pause the article here for a moment to kind of turn over to some commentary. What are your initial thoughts on this article? Have you encountered narcissists in your life before, whether it's a relationship or a friendship or even a coworker?
Oh, well, I know I can definitely speak for myself in that matter where I have actually dated a narcissist. I'm still being stalked by one.
Oof, that's no good.
Yeah, so for the most part, I've blocked a lot of things, but, I don't feel that I should have to change my home phone, but I just might have to. But for the most part, I've dealt with people like every single day. About 90 to 95% of my calls are relationship based. And for the most part, I hear a lot about this particular subject all the time as to where, and the big thing is, like she's saying in her story, he came off as being absolutely everything perfect. And they do. I mean, they come off as being like Prince Charming, rescuing, whatever. They pretty much like everything you do, or you may have some similarities for sure, but there's also, enough things to set it apart to make it look a little more realistic. But for the most part, I mean, they're just balming you, as they say, with every little compliment and everything that they can do to get in to you. And the thing about it is, it's almost like being an energy vampire. You're constantly getting to the point, like she had mentioned when she was freaking out in her house. It's always the fact that you feel so drained that there's no good takeaway anymore, that after that honeymoon phase and you start to see the true colors of that person come out, it's very draining, very disheartening, and they really mess with your mind. I mean, that's the worst part about it, is they get you to the point where you think you're crazy. You think you're absolutely stark raving nuts because they're making you think that you're the crazy person, that they're the sane person, and that you're the one that has the issues and it's not them. So they're constantly trying to gaslight you and turn the tables around on you and make it look, like it's not them at all. Mm. But they do have cracks in the pavement, like she is saying, because I do remember at one point when this particular person, and they still, I'm sure do it, is slam on colleagues and, they're a total basher. They basically have some major insecurity issues. I feel like there's a lot that's happened to this person in their life. And, I mean, with anybody, even though they're well-read and come from a good family stock doesn't necessarily mean anything. There could be other situations behind that as well. But, you just never know who you're dealing with. And, when she mentions at the beginning of the story, compass, that's your intuition, just another word for it. And ladies, guys, I mean, women can be narcissists as much as men can. So guys, watch yourselves too. Same thing can happen. But we definitely have to use our own internal compass, a.k.a. intuition, and go on what we're feeling. If you're not feeling good about it, it's too good to be true, or you're getting those red flags right away, you definitely need to back up, open up your eyes a little bit more, and put some distance there and make your observation. And if need be, run in the opposite direction.
Morgan?
I personally have not dealt with any narcissists in my life, but I have had some friends go through some relationships that their boyfriends or some of their family members have narcissistic traits. Mm-hmm. It is kind of hard to differentiate a narcissist just because sometimes they're your best friend or your boyfriend and you don't want to label them as that just because they are your loved ones. So
Mm.
I personally have never dealt with one, but I have watched my friends go through some situations.
Yeah, I kind of fall in a similar boat as you. Um, I tend to have a pretty strong intuition when it comes to narcissists, so I generally avoid them before they can do anything. But I do, as you said, I do have friends who have fallen into those, I guess, traps, if you will, of narcissistic people. And it's really disheartening to watch them go through this. And, I would want to help them get out of the situation because I care about them. But ultimately, it's their choice whether they want to stay in that situation or not. And if they want to stay in it, there's not really anything I can do. So, yeah. So, continuing on the article, so as we mentioned, a major red flag in the story was the way he talked about his ex-wife. He claimed that she was crazy. He was frustrated that she wouldn't return his emails, but at the same time, claimed that she couldn't let him go. He claimed he was suing him for more money. He gleefully told stories about humiliating her in court and described her disdainfully as looking old. He was vindictive. Wow, I don't know why I can't say that word. And wanted to destroy her. He also blamed her for his estrangement from his adult sons. One son still spoke to him, but I found the dynamic between them uncomfortable and odd. It was competitive and lacking in genuine warmth. As well, he lacked stories of connection, love, and bonding from when his children were young. It was kind of sad, and without knowing them, I felt sorry for this young man. He gave me strange parenting advice, such as recommending that I stop buying groceries for my constantly hungry teenage boys. He thought I was so soft, and that in general, mothers coddle their children, while the fathers are the ones who do the tough work required in parenting. More alarm bells rang in my head. He liked the attention of other women, especially the younger ones. He would buy them drinks as if it were an innocent gesture from a friendly guy. He would tell me stories about women paying attention to him when I wasn't around. I don't get jealous very easily. I know that it feels nice when someone else pays you a compliment, so it didn't bother me much. Yet he was needy. He wanted me to react to his tales of other women, and when I didn't, he said, "You're confident." That seems like a nice thing to say, except it wasn't a compliment. It was an observation, as if he were sizing me up to learn the degree of my confidence. He would gaslight in small ways and would play strange little games. His gaslighting and game playing was so subtle that it wasn't enough to really complain about, but it was enough to make me feel bad. He would say little things that were not quite insults, but they stung just a little bit, just like paper cuts. He would self-medicate frequently in his tiny apartment. He seemed to need alone time to get drunk and high so that he could release the tension from constantly pretending to be someone he was not. It was all very weird and getting stranger as time went on. While getting ready one morning, I looked in the mirror and noticed that I didn't look my usual self. I looked tired and sad. No amount of makeup, lotion, or hairstyling was making me feel better. Underneath, I didn't feel good anymore. It just didn't feel right. I began to wonder how I could feel this way when I was dating Mr. Wonderful. Why did I feel so off balance? Why were there times when it felt like I wasn't being heard? Why was my skin starting to break out? Why was I drinking wine more than usual? Why didn't this relationship feel good consistently? Why was I lonely?
Because you're dating a narcissist.
I decided that I didn't want to be with him anymore. I knew that I would be happier on my own. I gathered his things from my home and kept them in my car for a couple of days until the time was right to tell him. He was surprised but seemed to handle it quite well. I told him the usual stuff about staying friends. I got along quite well with my ex-husband, so I naively thought that this would end on good terms.
Oh, no. Think again.
However, it only took a few days for him to hover his ex-girlfriend back into his snare. I was so surprised at how quickly this happened that I realized that my instincts about him were right. Let's talk about that for a moment, about people who get out of a relationship and then immediately get into another one, and sometimes with exes at that. What are your thoughts
Hmm.
on that?
Well, the big thing about that is it happens a lot, and not just in a narcissistic situation. In this particular situation, it's like, I think with everybody that's done that, these people are needy, they're codependent, they can't be alone. They have to have someone to quote unquote feed off of. So, they constantly have to have a source of supply of, shall we say, freshness. So if they can't get to you and you've cut them off, they're going to go find somebody else. And believe me, there's a long list of other people.
Hmm.
Because when one woman goes down, there's another one behind her, there's another one behind her and her. There's always the domino effect when you're dealing with a narcissist, because they can virtually pull out a person, female or male, whoever the case may be, in anywhere, any point in time. They try to leave things in such a way that, the potential could be good to go back to someone, because that other person is going to be buying into the gaslighting, the love bombing, and all the other BSery that they have to offer. So for the most part, we're just looking at somebody that needs a source of supply, because they can't handle the rejection. They have to move in a different direction. Even in a regular, normal situation, a relationship, I would definitely say, in a normal relationship, and this is something that would occur, I would say that, these are just the symptoms and problems of someone that hasn't healed their heart over in between relationships. That there's a difference in a, true definition of what being in love is and what just love is. So they're two totally separate feelings. The feelings are the same, but the depth of, shall we say, the level of how you feel, there differentiates as to what capacity you feel about that person. But I feel more or less that it's a situation of where, they're jumping from person to person because there's no happiness with themselves.
Hmm.
And truly, you have to love yourself first before you can love another. A lot of people say that that's not true, but I feel like it is totally true. If you listen to the experts, they'll tell you the same thing. But you got to love you, folks, before you can love anybody else. Be happy with you, and that's what brings people to you. Your energy is good. That's what attracts.
Laffy Chimmuck, we haven't heard from you in a while. Kind of quiet there in the
Yeah.
background. You have any thoughts?
Well,
Sounds like she
I
fell
mean,
asleep. Fell in the
when you
burrow
talk
hole of the chipmunk.
when you talk about like going from one relationship right into another,
Wow.
I mean, I did meet
Oh,
my
sorry.
second husband.
I'm going to
I
pause
did
you for a
meet my
second. Sorry
what?
about that, Harmony. The reason why you couldn't hear was because I forgot to flip the switch on for
Oh,
you
I
to
was
hear
going to
her.
say,
That
where did
was
she
my
go?
bad.
Where did she go?
Laffy Chimmuck, could you start over for Harmony, please?
Okay. You know how you're talking about going from one relationship right into another? Um, I did meet my second husband just like about a week or so after my divorce was my when first marriage was dissolved officially. Um, but the thing of it is though, my ex-husband, he had already moved out of the house like a year or so, beforehand. So it wasn't like, we were still together or anything. We were officially separated. We were going through the divorce proceedings. And, he had already moved in with the woman that was soon to be his second wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I was living independently for a while, so um I wouldn't really say that I jumped right from one relationship into another. It was more like meeting my husband was totally unexpected. I was not
Yeah.
expecting it to happen at all.
Well, you also have to remember, too, that in your prior relationship with your first husband, that was long ago, over emotionally, before you met your husband currently. So that you
Right.
don't count. You don't
Yeah,
count.
Jeez.
yeah.
You have nothing to do with that topic because you didn't jump into it. You didn't like dive bomb into something else. Basically, your feelings and emotions were cleared, at least as to what we know, were cleared, for a while before you even went to, that point of divorce with the first husband. So, that doesn't attribute. It's like it's the people that, they're in a relationship, they're married, they are married, they jump into a situation with somebody that's single and, because they're not happy with their marriage and they're keeping court there and they're promising the person that's, on the outside of the relationship, hey, I'm going to leave my husband, wife, blah, 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 and then you and I can get together. Now, that's jumping from one thing to the next without even, granted, some people may be emotionally done with that situation, but, what Harmony's rationale to that is, if you're not happy, get out. Don't
Yeah.
sit there and do that to your partner, whether you like them, don't like them, whatever the case may be. We all go through a lot of crap in life. But if it ain't there, leave, and don't do it for the kids because you're showing them a heck of a lot of dysfunction. And there's no reason you need to throw that onto your children to see what a not-so-great relationship is all about because kids are smart, they're intuitive, and they see what's going on. Don't think they don't.
Oh, yeah.
Morgan, did you have anything you wanted to add in?
I would just say people would move or jump from a relationship to another relationship just because they're constantly looking for love or something better, or they think that something could be better. I think they do it for comfort, constantly just having someone there for them when, like one of you said, you have to love yourself before
Yeah,
you can
you do.
get into another relationship. I've personally learned that. I know of some of my friends who need to take some time for themselves to be alone and kind of just learn on their own. I think that's something that's super important.
Amen, girl. Dina, I always ask people, would you marry yourself?
Right.
And if your answer is no, I think you better take some time and figure out, who you are as a person. But yeah, it is. It's too easy just to jump into something because you don't want to feel lonely or alone. You want to be comforted or have some security. But yeah, I mean, the truest love you're ever going to have is the love of yourself first. And then when you have that energy, that will attract the right person to you.
You got to put yourself first, definitely, in anything you do, any people you meet, and even including your relationship. I believe I think it was yesterday's morning show during the daily reflection, we talked about the importance of me time in relationships. Like, even though you're in a relationship, you still got to have time for yourself, being able to get out and do things on your own, going to the mall, going to Lowe's or whatever you enjoy doing by
Your friends.
yourself.
Yeah, or your friends too. And that's the thing. So many people get consumed. It's like, oh, it's the love of my life. I want to eat, sleep, breathe, and whatever that person. And it's like you lose yourself in that person. And this is why, we're running off on a tangent, but this is why people get so upset and emotionally distraught in relationships, is simply because there's that attachment. We put so much on that person. They are our happiness. They are our life. They are everything to us. And we lose ourselves. You have to maintain your own individuality in a relationship and then work together as a team. Two individuals that make up the team. But you have to maintain you and retain you as a person. Because if you lose yourself in that other person, it's devastating. This is why people go through heartbreak and heartache, where you're sitting there crying, eating the box of chocolates, going out drinking and being crazy. But, it's you have to be you, and you have to accept each other, good, bad, ugly, flaws, everything in between. And if you can do that, then, you're going to have a good relationship. But you just cannot put yourself in a position of where you lose yourself into somebody and make them your whole world, because then that will be devastating to you.
Unfortunately, we are out of time for this topic, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a two-parter. So we will continue with this topic on tomorrow's morning show during the Daily Reflection for part two, because we still have quite a bit to cover when it comes to narcissism, the warning signs, and what to do when you experience them. And I also want to hear tomorrow from Harmony's perspective, if you're able to come on tomorrow.
Oh, sure, I'll be there.
I definitely want to hear more about, especially how you've encountered narcissism in your place of work. For context, those of you who are listening, Harmony works at a psychic line. I'm not going to give the name, given the context of our discussion. I don't want to get them in trouble or get Harmony in trouble.
Oh, you wouldn't. I mean, that's,
But yeah, there are some interesting callers, we'll say, that she encounters. And I think that would be pretty cool to hear her experience with that. She's also had some personal encounters with narcissists as well.
Yay, boo. But yeah,
And
we can get into total weeks and weeks upon weeks of relationships discussions, from twin flames, soulmates, false flames. The younger people, I don't know if a lot of them know about those concepts, but there are different types of spiritually evolving relationships in the world at this point. And it's very interesting, very interesting. A lot of stuff on that, too.
Very cool. So those of you who are listening, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, it is Wright State Wednesday. So we're going to be covering the latest happenings around Wright State University. You're listening to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine
And we're back to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Welcome back to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. It is Wright State Wednesday. I do want to let people know that Harmony had to get off to attend to some business, so we will see her again on tomorrow's Wright Morning Show. And then Morgan is also going to do some work as well. So it's just myself and Laughing Chipmunk at this point. We're going to go ahead and get right into some happenings around Wright State University. So it is Wright State Wednesday. We're going to start with Wright State Newsroom. Professor Emeritus Donna Miles Curry is appointed the trustee of Florence Nightingale Museum in London. Ooh, interesting. So Donna Miles Curry, Professor Emeritus of Nursing at Wright State University, has been appointed a trustee of the Florence Nightingale Museum in London, England. The life of Nightingale, the founder of modern nursing, is celebrated at the museum, from her work during the Crimean War to her campaign for better health care for ordinary people. The lamp that earned Nightingale the nickname the Lady with the Lamp is one of the many museum exhibits. Curry serves as the historian of the Wright State College of Nursing and Health. She is writing a history of the Wright State nursing program in preparation for its 50th anniversary in 2023. She has over 45 years of experience in pediatric and family nursing as a practicing nurse, educator, and administrator. She has received multiple awards for professional service and education. Curry was one of the co-founders for the International Family Nursing Association and established the International Family Nursing Foundation, a U.S.-based charity. In addition to leadership positions on the boards of the two organizations, she has held leadership positions in the Ohio Nurses Association, Sigma Theta Tau International Nursing Honor Society, Society of Pediatric Nursing, and the American Association for the History of Nursing. Curry has presented numerous papers at professional conferences and has authored professional articles and book chapters in a variety of publications. She earned her associate degree of nursing at Maryville College, her bachelor's and master's degree in nursing from St. Louis University, and her PhD from The Ohio State University. Very cool. Continuing on, recycling pays off at Wright State. For the past decade, Wright State University has collected recycled materials, including mixed paper, such as folders, writing paper, envelopes, and cardboard. Jim Click, Custodial Services Manager, said of the 138 tons of recycled materials that Wright State has collected over the last 5 years, corrugated cardboard boxes has comprised 60% of the collection. Recycling on campus isn't just good for the environment, it also benefits the university financially. We make money when we recycle. It costs us money when we dispose of trash, said Click. While the university pays a fee for a waste collection contractor to haul away garbage and recycling, Wright State later receives a monetary payment for collecting mixed paper that can be recycled. Wright State averages between $10,000 and $15,000 in recycling revenue per year, which peaked in 2011 with almost $30,000 in recycling revenue. Last year, the university implemented a centralized waste removal procedure for every floor in every campus building. The centralized collection areas contain a recycling bin with clear bags and a trash bin with black bags. Cardboard boxes can be collected from these areas as well. The centralized location makes it convenient for custodial staff to remove discarded items. Click said that university waste and recycling collection is a team effort across campus. While custodial services staff members collect from inside campus buildings, grounds, and maintenance staff collect from dozens of bins located outside around campus. If you are out and about on campus and are throwing something away and it's recyclable, Put it in the recycle bin, said Joe Dick, grounds and transportation supervisor. Discarding food into recycling cans will contaminate the bag and recycled materials, Dick said. When bags are cross-contaminated, they cannot be recycled and end up in the landfill. We're trying to play our little part on campus to generate awareness for recycling, help people be aware of it, the importance of it, and how that recycling saves a lot of money, said Click. 5 Wright State faculty members are to be honored by the National Certificate Program for Effective Online Teaching. 5 Wright State University faculty members will be honored in a virtual pinning ceremony for successfully completing a certificate program in effective online and face-to-face teaching practices. The recognition and pinning ceremony will be held on Friday, May 21st from 1 to 2 p.m. on Zoom. The certificate opportunity offered by the Association of College and University Educators came through Wright State's work with Ohio's Strong Start to Finish, a network formed to help all students find success in post-secondary education. The Wright State faculty members to be honored are Daryl Hausman, lecturer and academic director for developmental writing, Sarah McGinley, senior lecturer of English, Peggy Kelly, senior lecturer and academic director for developmental mathematics, Glenn Dahl, lecturer of mathematics and statistics, and Eric Potts, instructor of mathematics and statistics. This was an exciting professional development opportunity, said Tim Littell, Associate Vice Provost for Student Success and Campus Lead for the Ohio Strong Start to Finish initiative. We are especially excited for the chance that our math and English faculty to work together in this course as we continue to advance our co-requisite strategy. Kelly said the program had many helpful methods and practices that will make her a better teacher. One that I am eager to incorporate into my courses is the use of discussion boards in mathematics, she said. The course helped me see a variety of ways that math students could engage with discussion boards to more deeply understand math concepts. Hausman said that the program helped him better negotiate teaching online by demonstrating how to adapt good teaching pedagogy to online instruction. I also appreciate the numerous activities which helped me create assignments that assist with active learning, he said. Potts said that the program reinforced many of his teaching practices and that seeing video clips of many different online classes was also a valuable experience and helped him better relate to his students. I liked getting both student, faculty, and expert perspectives during the course, he said. McGinley said the program greatly expanded her toolbox of techniques, validated many of the activities she already does with her students, and gently steered her away from some older, less effective pedagogical approaches and techniques. Being able to take part in a supportive community of Ohio teachers who are all concerned with best practices, but who are understanding of where we all are in our various educational journeys, was such a great thing to be a part of in a year where so many of us are physically separated from our daily communities of professional support, she said. And being back in the student seat was perhaps one of the best lessons for how it feels to be on the receiving end of pedagogy, and a great reminder of how two-way the process really is. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn over to the Guardian Media Group for the time being and talk about the latest happenings around Wright State according to the Guardian Media Group. So, top 10 assigned reads that are worth the time. And this is written by Roxanne Roesner. With summer right around the corner and a warm weather approaching, it's the perfect time to enjoy the sun and grab one of these classic but underrated books. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. The 1960 classic is a must-read for most students for good reason. The novel focuses on the topics of racism and discrimination through the eyes of children. It challenges the social norms in ways that teach the reader, as well as the children, how the world operates. Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. This novel is a memoir of Jeanette Walls about her nomadic family and how her early years were shaped. It follows the ups and downs that they experienced together as a family. The story goes to show that one is usable to choose their family, but they can decide what to do with their future. Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. Of Mice and Men follows the narrative of two farmhands through California during the Great Depression. Their story is filled with heartache and hope, and its ending will leave you speechless.
And that's a very good book, too, and the movie's good, too. I've seen it and I've read it.
Laughing Chipmunk seems to have experience with it. So, without spoiling too much about the story, what is it like?
Oh, it's well, like you said, it's about a story about farmhands, and one of them is mentally challenged,
Mm-hmm.
and you know he you know how mentally challenged people are, they're like little children in their mind, I mean I mean if they're severely mentally challenged, it's like they're like little children, and they do things and sometimes they just don't know any better. And so this character in the book and the movie, he just goes through these rough times and stuff, and does things that he wasn't supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't understand why he's being punished for doing these things. He just doesn't, he can't comprehend, he can't understand,
Yeah.
so it's it's sad, it's really kind of a sad story. um I won't tell you how the ending is, but the ending is very sad, I'll tell you that.
Mm.
But yeah, you just have to read the book and watch the movie. I mean, either or, I suggest do both, compare the movie and the book together.
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've seen the movie, but, I remember that the book was very, very good.
Yeah, I
And
know.
if I ain't mistaken, I think I had to read that in high school.
It's a popular assigned reading, yeah.
Yeah.
And I did want to mention, usually the movies are different from the books. So definitely, if you read the book or watch the movie, you got to do the other.
Mhm.
Especially like if the book came out first, you'll definitely want to read the book at the very least, because
Yeah.
often movies, they have a limited budget, they have a limited time frame to be able to capture the essence of the book, and so often they don't necessarily really do so in the same ways that the book does.
Yeah.
We have Scotty now joining us back in the studio. How's it going, Scotty?
It's going good. Had to do a little bit of work, but I'm back for the last 10 minutes. Just wanted to hop on and do a little bit of recap with you, right?
Yeah.
Want to see what's up, see how you're finishing the show off today.
So we're talking about assigned readings that we've all had, throughout middle school and high
Oh,
school.
my Lord.
That could possibly be, good summer reads.
Let me think. I didn't get assigned this book, but there was this book I read. I believe it was my junior or senior year of high school, and I don't like to read books that much. Like, I like to listen to audiobooks because, it's just, I do it while I'm at Walmart. I put my headphones in, listen to audiobooks, and that's amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one book that I actually read and I really enjoyed was this book called The Berlin Boxing Club. It's about this Jewish kid back in, Nazi Germany, and he gets trained by this boxer who was an actual person. I forget his name. It was like Mark something, I think. I don't quote me at all. It's been a few years since I read the book. But it's not based off a true story, but it's based off a true person. Like, the boxer was a real person, but the main character was made up.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, this Jewish kid, he kind of gets bullied all the time and all that. He ends up becoming this, like, super good boxer and everything, and a bunch of stuff happens. I don't want to spoil it, but it really focuses on this kid trying to make himself like stand up for himself and be able to have something to fight for and all this stuff, along with living in Nazi Germany and having to deal with all that. So it's like two things going on at once. I mean, honestly, a million things going on at once, but that book was amazing. So that I don't recommend books like ever. Berlin Boxing Club. I don't remember how many pages it was, but it wasn't too hateful of a book. It was probably like 400 pages or something like that. I can't remember. I would give it a 9.6 out of 10. I loved that book so much. It was amazing. Obviously, you can't go wrong with the Hunger Games either. And what was that one book of Mice and Men?
That's the one we were just talking about.
Yeah, and then there was another book that I was assigned my sophomore year of high school, The Lord of Flies. Did you read that one?
I honestly have not heard of it. I've never.
You've never
been
heard of The
assigned
Lord
that
of Flies?
one. No.
No, that was a popular one that was assigned over in Preble County, where I'm from. Basically, it's this book about these kids. They are on a plane to some place. I forget where. Yeah, because I hear the buzz in there. But anyways, they're on a plane to go to this place. I can't remember where, but the plane ends up crashing, right? And the kids are alive, but they're trying to live on this island, and it's just they go psycho, at least to say. I mean, it's just a living hell, literally. It's crazy. I can't really. I don't like I said. I don't want to spoil it. Mixed with it's been 4 or 5 years since I've read it, so I can't really remember everything. But that was a decent book. I was okay with it. They have a movie off it too, which I heard is more graphic than the book, which is kind of weird to think about because you would expect the book to have more detail. But that book wasn't that bad. I liked that book, and I mean that was one that was assigned to me in sophomore year by my English teacher, and it wasn't that bad. It was all right. I'll give it a. I'll probably give it like an 8.2 out of 10. It was all right. But, I mean, it's something I didn't mind reading. It was pretty good. I'd recommend that one as well. But the Berlin Boxing Club, oh, my gosh, I love that book so much. I really do. I highly recommend if you want a good book to read this summer, please read that book. It's so good.
So this is an article from the Guardian Media Group. Have you had to read To Kill a Mockingbird? Because that's a pretty popular one in school.
I didn't have to read it, but I think I did read it at one point in my younger age. Probably when I think it was like when I was late middle school I read it. That book's been out for a while, has it not?
I believe so, yeah. The 1960s is when it came out.
Oh, okay, that's a long time ago. Yeah, okay, way longer than I thought. But I'm pretty sure I read it at one point, but I honestly can't remember. I've read a lot of books. One book series that I absolutely adored was the Percy Jackson series, which I know that's more revolved around kids. Obviously, I read it as a kid. I read it when I was in about 5th grade to 7th grade. I read the whole Percy Jackson series and the whole, was it the Mountain of Olympus or the Mount of Olympus or something? That's the second series.
I think that's what it was, the Mount of Olympus.
Yeah, anyways, I read both of those series, which I think is 10 to 12 books total. And I read all of them in like 2 to 3 years. I really loved that series. And that's what really got me into Greek mythology. Like, I'm taking 2 history courses next semester. And I think one of them's like an American history course and one of them's like a Greek. I love it.
I took Greek mythology too.
I mean, obviously, Rep Sig up here, right? So Greek culture. I love Greek and Roman culture. I played a bunch of video games. Like, I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey that has, Greeks versus Romans. I've done personal research a tad bit on a lot of the gods. Obviously, all those books I read. There's a bunch of cool stuff I've done with Greek and Roman mythology, and I really enjoy the culture and just how they worship their gods and what their gods do, and just everything about it. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want to live during that time because disease and all that other war, but I really enjoy kind of getting an image of what it was like. So I really liked the Percy Jackson series because it was like modern day, but it incorporated Greek mythology within it through this kid.
Ooh, interesting.
It's really cool. And I mean, if you have not read the Percy Jackson series, I don't know how you could ever read a book. That's like one of the best. That's like one of the kid books everybody reads. Like anytime I bring up Percy Jackson, it's like, oh yeah, I read that. That book series is amazing. I love it.
I might have to check that out in my spare time.
Oh, you will, Pat. I know you. I know.
I will.
I know you. I know you like D&D and everything. You like a lot of fantasy related things, right?
I'm getting into it. Yeah, I'm not like hardcore just yet.
You got some time. You got some time to read a book. Out of all the books to read, just read the first Percy Jackson book. It tells him. Tells you how he got into everything, and it's pretty crazy from the get go. About 50 pages in, is when everything hits. I think it's like a 300 to 400 page book, so it's not that bad of a read. It's a really good book. I highly, 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 highly recommend it. That's my favorite book series of all time, so highly recommend it.
Awesome. And Greek mythology is Greek and Roman mythology is pretty cool to listen to. There's some whack stories in mythology, but they're pretty fun to listen to, read about. And
Oh yeah,
research.
You're like, what? Like people did this? So, like people will actually believe this, but it's just kind of like
Zeus.
when you connect a lot of the pieces, like I don't know what to bring up for an example here because I'm pretty brain dead at the moment. But you connect a lot of pieces together between the gods and like what they say happened before humanity was created and stuff, and you're just like, dang, like that's kind of cool to like just their point of view on how life was created. Because with Christianity, people believe that 7 days God created the world and the universe in 7 days, right? And you got these, Greek mythology and everything that has all these gods and the history behind them as individuals, how they were born. Obviously Zeus is basically like the god of gods, pretty much the father of gods, and you got all this other stuff, and it's really cool. Just Greek and Roman mythology itself is awesome. I highly love it. At least to say, I love researching it in my free time little free time I do have. It's very interesting stuff.
Yeah. I'm going to speed run through the rest of this article since we only have a couple of minutes, but some other summer reading stories that you could check out is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Another good one.
Yeah, I read that one in high school as well.
I never got assigned it, yeah.
Huh. Actually, read The Great Gatsby in order to kick off your roaring 20s right. Filled with extravagant parties and watchful eyes, The Great Gatsby is one that will not disappoint. All Quiet on the Western Front by Erich Maria Remarque. There's Fallen Angels by Walter Dean Myers. The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. The Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller. Moby Dick by Herman Melville. That was another one that I heard about. And Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. So there's just some summer reading stories that you could check out. We are running out of time, so we're going to do one last check of the weather. It is currently 78 degrees with mostly clear skies here at Wright State University, according to tomorrow.io. The wind is coming from the south at 10 miles per hour. The humidity is 50%. The visibility is good. The air quality is moderate. Your hyperlocal forecast for the next 12 hours calls for mostly clear skies up until 2:15 p.m., and then some clouds are going to roll in. It's going to get cloudy around 2:45 p.m., maybe a thunderstorm here and there. We're not too sure about that just yet. Temperatures are going to reach 80 degrees at about 2 p.m., and then it's going to cool off into the upper 70s at 7 p.m. So that is your hyperlocal forecast for today, and that concludes today's episode of the Wright Morning Show. Thank you, everybody, for making us a part of your morning. Thank you, Scotty, for being on the show.
As always.
Thank you, Laughing Chipmunk, for being on the show as well.
Oh, thank you.
And also thanks to Morgan and Harmony, who were also on the show earlier today. We will be back every weekday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM. Tomorrow is Thoughtful Thursday, so that means I'm going to be bringing in, not entirely sure what I'm going to do. Depends on who's going to be on the show. I'm going to try and do some sort of debate for tomorrow's show, but I have to have people on the show to do it, so we'll see what happens. So it'll either be a debate or some sort of thoughtful topic. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you again tomorrow on